Hello, Mr. McMorrow. Welcome to Red FM virtually. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well. How are you?
Not too bad. I remember having
Good.
you in studio moons ago. A lot of
Yeah.
water has passed onto the bridge. Things have worked out well for you. Not so well for me. I'm joking. How's life? You've been
It's
popping
pretty
up
good.
all over the place. I've seen you in the Mansion House. I know you did that first kind of like test gig, which
Hmm.
no doubt was great, but a little disappointing because it didn't quite roll on from there. But you now
Yeah,
seem to be popping up in a lot of places, which is good timing because you have an album out.
I do. Yeah, no, it is good timing. It's almost as if we had it all planned. Um, yeah.
A very frustrating time, though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like, yeah, I'm in London right now. I'm able to do stuff here. It's sad. It's disappointing to me that like I can't really do the things I used to do around album releases in Ireland right now, and that I have to come here to do it. I would much rather be in Dublin running around talking, or even in Ireland, just go to Cork. I used to do that. Go talk to you in person.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do that stuff soon, but in the here and now, yeah, this is what has to happen. So yeah, it is a disappointing time. It's exciting to see shows coming back, albeit slowly. But you know our music and musicians will always figure it out. That's the thing. Not really designed to sit around and complain. We just get on with it. So like, that's why I'm here and that's why you're there. We're just, music needs to be
Well,
played, music needs to be shared.
all right now. In a way, I kind of feel like, do I even want to delve into any of this sort of stuff? But like, look at with the world stopping in the way that it did. Do you have a sort of a neat little? Here's the things that I learned, and I'm actually glad that I did.
Well, funny you should mention it, Dave. No, I mean, if we're talking about it from like a musical perspective, then yes, definitely. Like a lot changed with the records. I had it finished before the whole pandemic kicked off. I went back about 3, 4 months after I stopped crying and made it better, so that was good. Um, so there was lots of lovely moments like that, and from a like a just a human perspective, yeah, there was lots of like lovely things within this that I like. You're getting forced to do it, so in the beginning you're like, I don't want to be here at all. I need to get on a plane and do what I used to do. But once all that kind of dissipated and it was just me in a house with 2 other people, it was lovely. I've now a 3-year-old daughter, and getting to
Oh,
see her go through a year and a half, like she has spent 50% of her life basically locked in a house, and she like trying to take care of her and keep her happy and entertained kind of took the focus off of me and my own sort of, you know,
yes.
feeling sorry for myself stuff. So that was, I was appreciative of that for sure.
Yeah, and I guess 50% of her life to date that she got to spend in a far more concentrated and concerted fashion with you than she probably would have otherwise, unless you were bringing her out on the road and getting her to do some roadie stuff.
I mean, yeah, we'll get her to lift some amps and do things. She's got to learn young. Yeah, no, she will when we get back to touring. They will come out on the road with me for sure. We're well built, with tour buses and stuff like that to kind of take it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's true. Like I would have been gone for most of last year, so that was a really unexpected, but
Yeah.
ultimately really positive thing.
Although to bring it to the album, though, I mean, it would be one thing if in the whole shutdown time, you were like, oh, well, I made an album out of it, but you literally had it ready to go. And then you're sitting there going, like, was that a block to making more music in any way?
No, almost the opposite. Where like
Ah,
again, yeah, like in the past, I think music has been this very inspirational kind of out of touch thing for me. Where when I finish an album, I'm never quite sure how the heck I managed to get it across the line, because like it's 2 years of like every day chipping away at it, and then you look back and you're like, oh wow, this thing is finished. But last year, I like was in my studio every day, like treating it like a job. I would go in every day. I would make music, whether it was good, whether it was bad, it didn't really matter. It was just the physical act of creation felt really important all of a sudden. And I think coming out the other side of it, I've been working. I'm in London right now. I'm about to go to the studio to like work on like 2 different projects with 2 other people. I wasn't doing a lot of that stuff pre like 2020, and now that's going to come out of all that. Where like music is like, it feels a bit more not functional to me. It still feels very mystical, but in a more
hmm.
tangible way. So
Yeah. And in terms of seeing you pop up in the likes of the Mansion House, that show that was bringing some great music from there. I mean, I've always wondered why Ireland hasn't done a sort of a Jules Holland style show
yeah,
of
for
some
real.
sort that had the feel of that. A room full of people making music in the same room, camera. It's not exactly a complicated concept, people,
No, no,
but it was
no.
lovely. Um,
Yeah.
I saw you there and I saw you in a number of places. And like, let's talk. So Paradise is the sort of song that we've heard so far from Grapefruit Season. There's a new one to come, True Love. And even seeing you in the Mansion House and the way you're constructing the songs, maybe that's not much of a change for you in recent times, but what's going on in that making of music for you? It seems like you're pulling from different strands and adding them into a James Vincent McMorrow mix?
I think I'm pulling from strands of my own historical sort of James Vincent McMorrow, not to talk about myself in the third person, but like, I am, these are all like historical strands of mine. Like if you go back to my first album, which was more like guitar piano based, the second album, which was a lot more experimental, the third album, which was a lot more R&B, these are all the different sides of my personality musically and just as a person. But to put them all on the same body of work is a new energy for me, and then to try and make that coherent and cohesive. And that was where I guess that's where the trick comes in, is like how to take all these things. We're fortunate I've lived my musical life in a sort of a post-genre environment. I don't really think about it. I've never really thought about it. It tends to be other people, outside forces, telling me this is what you are, and not having an impact on me personally. This is the first album where I've basically just ignored any other instinct beyond what I wanted to do in the day and with that song, and that's what we have.
Yeah, no, you make some interesting points there. We used to live in a world where it was, and maybe it helped people to digest things in a way. Oh, I get this person. They're a guy with a guitar, or they're a person with a piano, and I understand what I'm getting here. But you're right, we do live in a post-genre world, and people, I don't think like that anymore. It's just like, is it good? Do I tap my toes to it? Has it got a rhythm and a beat that I'm buzzing off? And and that's kind of what my question was asking, actually, was that mix of things. So how's that got? Like, is it a process that you're working towards, maybe sort of feeling like, of nailing it? Do you feel you've nailed it, and then now you've got more to explore with it? Where are you at with that?
I mean, within the framework of this album, if you want to use the term nailed it, I do think I have. I'm quite bullish about this record. Like, I played it for my Uber driver in London yesterday, and he loved it. So I feel I've never done that before. I've never been, even that as an anecdote, the idea of me being with a stranger and him saying, "Oh, what are you here for?" And I said, "I'm here for press." Played him the record without even thinking about it. It was almost like I plugged in the aux cord before he asked me, because he was just like, "Oh, cool." And I was like, "Yeah, let me play it for you," because I feel very confident in the work. Lyrically, it's as candid and concise as I've ever been. Sonically, it's doing everything that I've always wanted to do, but never necessarily gotten to that place before. Collaborator, everybody that I've worked with on the record, these are people that I'm a fan of and brought something to the table that helped me elevate my game and push me further. So from that perspective, I don't think there's anything about this record that I don't love in a very basic level. Yeah.
And I mean, listen, you've been globe trotting long before this, but does this feel like it's got a big world vision? Do you kind of feel like, where do you want this to go for you?
I mean, I've been this on the as in terms of level, I'm pretty much the same in and have been since the start everywhere in the world that I go. Like, I go to America, I go to Canada, it's Australia, but everybody wants a different thing. Everybody looks to it for a different thing from me, which is interesting, because I've always given different things to different people, not consciously. It's just, some countries like this, some countries like that. And so I don't have any expectations. I'm not that type of person. Like, I exist in a musical frame. The commercial realities have always been very opaque to me, while also being very good to me. So what happens with it once it goes into the world is basically the world's decision.
But I just get the feel that you're excited about it.
Oh, I am. Yeah. Hopefully that's palpable. I am very excited about this in a way that I've always, I'd say this, whenever I've gone into a room and played an album of mine beforehand, there's always moments where I kind of cringe, where I'm like, oh, I didn't get that right. I wish I'd gotten that. Because the reality of making albums and it being a finite amount of time, and you just hit up walls all the time. This, I didn't. So even yesterday, playing it for a stranger, and there wasn't a single moment where I was like, oh, I wish I could fix that, or I didn't really put my best effort into that. I'll stand behind everything on this album. If anyone wants to go toe to toe with me and talk about it, I'll talk about it earnestly with them, and what it means, why I did what I did, and how it impacts. So yeah, I feel very strongly about it.
Magic. Grapefruit season with the single from, we've heard Paradise. True Love is the new one from you, James Vincent McMorrow. Pleasure chatting with you here on Red FM. Much success with it. I look forward to playing a stack of tracks off it.
Deadly. Thank you so much, Dave. Take it easy, man.